live from the Lakehouse. And we've had an amazing day today. We've spoken with a lot of our guests today, ranging from one of our partners from Data IQ all the way down to Denny Lee, who made us all laugh. But more importantly, I'm back with my amazing co-hostess, Holly, and we're going to be having an amazing time with Zaheera Valani, who's going to talk about marketplace, data sharing. I have a lot of questions for you, but I'll defer to Holly to let her, kick things off a little bit.
Okay, thank you so much, Jimmy. I hope you've all seen the keynote earlier on today and some of yesterday as well. And marketplace and just sharing data in general is becoming so popular and so important. And it is a fundamental part of our Lakehouse platform. So who better to chat to us about this than Zaheera Valani from Product Management, who looks after all of this area. Welcome, Zaheera.
Thank you. Thank you. So excited to be here. Yeah, and so I'm actually on the engineering side.
I'm so sorry.
But that's great. Yeah, we're great to be here.
So we're happy to have you here. But tell us, in terms of kind of the customers that you've been working with, what are the things that you hear that they are wanting from a marketplace? Tell us about why they want to share their data and how they're finding this useful.
Yeah, great question. So that's one of the great things about being here is getting a chance to also meet with a lot of our customers. I talked a little bit about this yesterday in the keynote. I gave the example of Edmunds. It's really for people who are shopping for cars, and so this is a company that's already really sharing data and insights with their customers. They're sharing data with internally within their organization. They're sharing data with their partners and even with competitors for use cases like inventory reconciliation, right? For car inventory, in order to reconcile it, they do that in the automobile industry. So this is data sharing is across the spectrum, and this is just one example, right? This applies, and we've talked to companies and customers in financial services and retail as well. And so this data sharing needs to happen already. And there's a lot of challenges, associated with this. There's data that's flowing through their ecosystem. There's, privacy, PII. You need to make sure that it's secured and governed properly. And then there's I want to be able to acquire this data easily. I need to procure it quickly. And then there is, I've procured it easily. Now, can I trust it? So it's across sort of the spectrum, everything from internal to I'm sharing with certain organizations to external. And then, can I make sure that I can acquire it easily? Can I trust that? And how do I make sure that it's valid? So lots of dimensions.
So, this is awesome, right? Because a lot of our customers, especially in the financial institutions or even retail and insurance, are looking for ways to be able to share data.
Yeah.
And one of the key concerns is, how can I make sure the data is valid? How can I make sure the data is trusted? How can I make sure the data is available? So if we look at those three key elements, how do you think that marketplace or data sharing can help them get started quicker? That's number one. And number two is, what do they need to do to get started quickly?
Yeah, great question, right? That's the foundation of all of this, right? How do we make this happen? And so to answer, I think it really comes down to the collaboration capabilities that we have in the platform. So the foundation of all of this is really Delta sharing. And Unity Catalog.
Yes.
So for Delta sharing, really, it's I'm not sure if everyone knows, but it's a project that we announced 2 years ago. It's a open source protocol to be able to share data securely. And it's taken off. We've seen incredible momentum since we launched it.
And maybe something we should say about Delta sharing is, the recipient doesn't have to have Databricks, do they?
Nice.
This is honestly, the amount of times that I've seen, you can have the sharing data if both of you have the thing. And it's but, if you're sharing across an entire industry, it's not really practical for everyone to go out and buy a particular tool. But with Delta sharing, I don't know, maybe if you want to talk a bit through the mechanics of it, but my understanding is you get very little data, very few things that you need to configure to be able to then integrate it with your kind of tool of choice.
Yeah, exactly. And that's such an important part of this too, is to your point, not everyone is on the same platform.
Yes.
And so with Delta sharing, the recipient doesn't have to be a Databricks customer, right?
Nice.
They don't have to be tied to a specific vendor. Whether they're using a tool like Power BI or Excel, all of that can connect to a Delta share
Nice.
directly. So that's really important. And then Delta sharing, it integrates with Unity Catalog, and so this is where you get the security and governance,
Yes.
right, that you were asking about, so that you can track and govern and like see who's been accessing, like audit who's been accessing the shared data sets with Unity Catalog. So these, this two things like the Delta sharing and Unity Catalog, that kind of forms the foundation of these other collaboration capabilities. And then your marketplace is kind of built on top of that
Yes.
as well. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at where, obviously Delta sharing is going, you're talking about integration with Unity Catalog, creating this marketplace, making data readily available. One of the questions that my customer was asking me was, look, are you going to have a marketplace which is going to be a collection of multiple endpoints from different vendors, right? Are we going to have a marketplace that encapsulates all these different data sharing capabilities? So I only go into one interface, but nobody cares where I'm getting the data from. Do you see that being something that somebody can build their own marketplace with a combination of multiple endpoints that comes from different places?
Yeah. So right now said we were in GA yesterday. We announced that we're in GA yesterday, which is super exciting. And today there's already a variety of providers in the
Yes.
marketplace across different industries, right?
Yes.
So today people can go to marketplace.databricks.com. You don't have to be a Databricks customer.
Nice.
And you can go in and you can search and discover for these different data products
Nice.
across a variety of providers.
Yes.
Yeah. And then to kind of go a level, kind of deeper than that, and maybe maybe that answers your question, is the other part of this is, sure, there's the public marketplace,
Yes.
but there's also the concept of private exchanges, right?
Yeah.
Like not, every organization, needs to put their data out there for everyone to
Yes.
see,
Yes.
but there's,
Yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
specific organizations that you need to share with, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's, I'm sharing with my vendors or I need to share with my suppliers. And so that's the concept of private exchanges, where you
Nice.
can select what organizations you want to share with. And that's also in GA as well as
That's
as
good.
of yesterday. Yeah.
So how can our customers get started? What are some of the things that they need to have in place? So if they're to build like a minimum viable something,
Yeah.
what would that something really be?
Yeah.
Right?
It's actually really, really easy to get started. If you're a consumer, right, you see what data sets are available.
Okay.
Don't have to be a Databricks customer.
Nice.
Just go to marketplace.databricks.com.
Yeah.
If you are a Databricks customer, within your workspace, you will be able to access the marketplace and browse that way. And you can even then acquire and try out the data sets. If you are a provider and you want to share data, you have to, we go through a provider platform.
Okay.
And even that, we've done work to make that self-serve.
Okay.
But you have to opt into it. And then, there's an agreement that you need to accept. And then you publish listings.
Yes.
And if those listings are going to be in the public marketplace, then they go to a vetting process.
Nice.
But if you want to share it with your, the organizations of your choice with a private exchange,
Yes.
then you are able to just do that easily as well.
So there's a huge amount of data sets that you can kind of go and browse at the
Yeah.
moment,
At the
isn't
moment,
there?
yes,
I
yes.
do like going through and scrolling and like seeing what I can find, what is new.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's things that like you kind of expect to be on there, but was there anything that like really surprised you, like that appeared as a data set that you could use?
There are some really interesting data sets. So, first, a lot of it is like, there's financial services, there's
Yep.
Yes.
the healthcare, life sciences. And then there's also retail. The thing that's been really interesting to see through the preview, what's been really popular is weather data.
Yeah.
Is
Do you like
weather
some
data
weather
is
data?
very, very.
What are some of the most popular data sets that you've seen on our marketplace that a lot of people are really using, and why?
So the weather data has been popular.
Nice.
The other one has been the in the life sciences spaces. We've seen a lot of that data that's been popular. And then the other data that we've seen is location data.
Location data.
From Safegraph, one of our providers.
Yes.
That's also been really, really popular.
All right then,
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
Thank you so much. So we talked about kind of what's gone GA, and that's great for everyone to get started with. But what's in the works now? Like, what's coming next?
Great question. So we have a few things coming next. One, we talked a little bit about clean rooms yesterday.
Yes.
Yes.
So
That's our favorite topic.
Yeah, I gotta love clean rooms.
so
I
that's-
love that as a concept.
that's in private preview. That's in
Yes.
preview.
Yes.
And then the other things that we're working on within Marketplace is like more analytics
Okay.
for the provider. We're adding more, continue to add more functionality to Delta sharing.
Nice.
And then we're also working on, I was sharing this with Holly a little bit, the concept of internal marketplaces.
Okay.
We talked about public marketplace, private exchanges, but there's also how can you make the discovery within an organization,
Yes,
right? There's
yes.
so much data. How do I get started? New users onboarding, and making some of that
Okay.
a lot easier as well. Yeah.
That
So
is
lots
nice.
of fun things coming.
Lots
Yeah.
of fun things to do. Well, it's been a pleasure having you here with us here. I
so
can't
much.
wait to actually spend some time with you again and learn as we go along. And we're back again. We're welcoming our next speaker. So looking forward to spending some time with the next guest. I think this has been an amazing time. What do you think?
Oh my goodness. So yeah, I've had a really great time today, and we also have a fantastic guest with us now. We have a partner, again, here at Databricks. We do love our partners. And I would like to welcome Taylor, who is COO and co-founder of Fivetran.
Hi, Holly. Hi,
It's great to have you
Hey.
here.
Good to be here.
I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Oh,
Just
me
because
too.
of the partnership and just the amount of work that we're doing together.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start thinking about how the industry is changing, especially with generative AI, that means we have to
Mm-hmm.
figure out a way to get the data ready. I'm just so excited about what you're doing out there. So tell me a little bit about yourself and a little bit about how you think this market is changing and how Fivetran can help us out.
Absolutely.
Smooth.
Well, I'll just say a couple words about Fivetran first. So everyone knows what we are, what we do.
Yes.
Fivetran replicates data, or we're a data replication product or
Yes.
platform that brings data from all over the world, whatever places our customers have data, into a cloud data platform
Yes.
like Databricks.
Yeah.
And virtually every company in the world is building a cloud data platform or will be building
Yeah.
a cloud data platform.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the cloud data platform is only as good as the data that you have in
Yes.
it.
Oh
Obviously.
yeah,
Yes.
you can't have patchy data.
Exactly.
No.
You have to have something, right? It's like if you have nothing in it, then
Yeah.
Yeah, and also trying to connect to on-prem from the cloud is like
Yes.
a nightmare. You don't want to do that at scale for kind of piecemeal
Yes.
bits and
Yeah.
pieces. You
Right.
want everything to be in your Delta Lake, and that's where you can really start doing all this powerful work. But if you are constantly having to go and like connect to things, find to things,
Yes.
and again, on-prem tends to
Yes.
have like
Yes.
very different tools that it integrates with
Right.
that don't necessarily align with a cloud data platform at all. So.
Right.
Yeah, step one, get your data.
Get your
in the-
data in. That's right.
Get your data in.
It's step one, right?
Step one,
Get your
get the
data in.
data.
Make sure the data is right. But what are some of the biggest challenges that you have seen Fivetran really addressed? And what value did the customer truly get out of it?
Yeah, so for a lot of our customers, like even Condé Nast or Databricks themselves,
Yeah.
they are trying to build a customer 360, or you're trying to build a customer 360, which is essentially trying to get an understanding of all the different touch points you have for a customer across the
Yes,
journey
yeah.
or the buyer life cycle. And in order to do that, you have to get data from all the different
Yeah.
applications, hundreds of applications, and pull that into Delta Lake.
Yes.
So we did that for both of these companies,
Nice.
pull the data in, and then like Condé Nast, for example, ended up building a model on top of that, and then they built an application on top of that to drive better user experiences
Yes.
for all of the customers on
Nice.
Condé Nast.
I like it. I like it. I mean, when you look at the rise and advent of generative AI, right, data has to come from multiple data sources.
That's right.
And so when you look at what customers are doing today, do you have customers who are thinking about leveraging a tool like Fivetran to be able to solve their LLM problems?
Yeah, so again, it all comes back to step one, get the data into Delta. And what Fivetran has focused on is doing this in a very automated way. So,
Yes.
customers have hundreds of different places or
Yes.
thousands of different places.
Yes.
One of our larger customers has 16,000 different connections that they're running.
No.
And you can't possibly do that in a manual way. So it's every
Yes.
time that they're setting up a new database or otherwise, it automatically sets up a Fivetran pipeline,
Wow.
replicates that data in for them. Any
Wow.
changes or anything that happen in the source, we automatically push those through.
I love it.
And so effectively, you have an infrastructure that's completely automated to get data from all these disparate places, on-premise, cloud, from all your legacy systems, your Oracles, your ERP, from SAP, like all of those systems we connect to.
And also, it's something from personal experience, I know that it's so easy to get set up.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I had to
Yeah.
build my own connector for every single thing,
Yeah.
it would I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. Obviously, at Databricks we use Salesforce, and I remember it used to be the intern project to
Yeah,
try and get
yeah.
data from Salesforce.
It is.
And we had 5 different versions. They all sucked.
Yes.
Right.
And then we
Well, it's kind of a crappy problem, and so people end up throwing the intern on it because
Yes.
nobody
Yeah.
wants to solve
Nobody
this
wants to
problem.
do
It's
that.
very, very
Exactly.
hard, and you're working
Yes.
with these APIs that are
Yes.
changing.
Yes.
Yes.
And so we've spent a tremendous amount of time. We've spent the last 10 years. We have thousands of customers
Nice.
who have used us to just take that data, move it over, so they can focus on the modeling layer, on the
Okay.
generative AI.
Okay.
They can focus on being within the cloud data platform and
Yes.
getting the value back to their customers or to their business.
So if you're looking for customers who are starting the journey, right, in terms of data integration, data movement, and so on, what would be your advice to them in terms of how they can start their journey?
Yeah, it's a great question. What I'd say is you select your cloud data platform of
Yeah.
choice, Delta Lake, right?
Delta Lake.
And,
I've heard
and,
it's really
you know,
good.
I
yeah.
know, I heard.
And it's quite good.
Thank you.
And so from there, then you have to decide, okay, well where do I want to start, right? Because
Yes,
that's the hardest
yes,
part. There's so
yes,
many different
yes,
places you can
yes,
start. And
yes.
so typically you try and find what is the lowest hanging fruit, you can get the most business value
Yes.
for, and so a lot of customers will start with a marketing use case, right? Where you
Yes.
have a lot of different data sources, and you can get them in there and you can start to understand, hey, what is the attribution model, right?
Yep.
What ads are actually working?
Yes.
Where should I spend more money? Where should I spend less money in marketing?
This is
That's an
awesome.
example, right?
That's
There could be same product example. Like, let me just get the product database in.
Yes.
And so I usually suggest starting with a single use case, get it in
Yes.
there, get some success, get your end users actually using it, understanding it, and then typically they'll start to request more, right? The business users will say, hey,
Yes.
can I get
Yes.
this?
Yeah.
Give me this.
Yeah.
Can I have that? And the nice thing with Fivetran is it's so easy to use that literally you can give it back to the
Yes.
actual end users,
Yes.
and they can go and say,
Yes.
I'm going to add these different connectors,
Yes.
right? And they just
Yeah,
see
yeah,
the data
yeah.
flow in, and they're ready to start working. We integrate directly into Unity Catalog, so you can
Oh,
start
yes.
to use, out of the box, like the Databricks IQ, and a bunch of the pieces from that are just working directly out of the box.
It's amazing because you really got the words out of my mouth, because my next question is going to be around governance and security, as
Yeah.
it's already down here. So, when you look at governance and you look at security, you're just talking about Unity Catalog. How are you ensuring governance and security across all these different, pipes that have been built?
Yeah,
right?
it's a great question. With thousands of different pipelines, it's hard to know what are you moving,
Yes.
what are you not moving.
Yes.
And so first of all, security is a top priority for Fivetran. We have a bunch of different deployment models to work for our customers. We have 4 different deployment models, whether it's
Nice.
fully cloud or you
Nice.
have an on-premise to cloud or a hybrid, semi-on-premise to cloud. Depending on whatever security our customers need, everything's encrypted end to end, and so the whole system's very secure.
Yeah.
But the second question is the data I'm moving? What do I know about that data? And that's the governance
Yes,
piece of it.
yes.
And so the nice thing with Fivetran is that because we want to integrate directly into Unity, you know with the lineage, you know all the way down to the column, you know what you're moving across. And we've started to add some features like automatic PII detection, automatic PHI detection. So you can say, hey, like Central IT, I'm worried about sending a bunch of social security numbers over. So I'm going to tell Fivetran to just block those or hash those and notify me. And then we can go back and I feel secure and comfortable from a central IT and security perspective that I'm not loading data that we shouldn't necessarily have in the warehouse. Or we need to make sure we hash it correctly in the warehouse.
I love it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. And so, look, I know you've been working on this for years now, but I think there's some newer things that have come out recently that you're very proud of, and I think it's the database replication.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit more about that. I know you're desperate to.
I am desperate to. That's a great layup right there. I love it. So we acquired a company 2 years ago called HVR, which has the best database replication technology on the planet from replicating for like Oracle, SAP, and like all the other databases, that out there. And we've now spent the last 2 years integrating these two products together. So we have the best of cloud, best of on-premise to cloud. We can support the largest workloads on the planet. And that is, I think, what is some of the most valuable data you need to get into your Lakehouse. So that's the big thing that I want to make sure everybody knows.
So, what are your thoughts, though, as we start to wrap up around the future of data and analytics, right? Because every company is now becoming an AI data.
Right.
And if you're going to become an AI data, we need to bring the model to the data itself, which is what everybody talks about. And you make that really ready. When you look at the future of where you want to see Fivetran, what would that be?
Well, let's start with where the future of the industry is going. I think every business will be turning into a data company and a software company almost first. I was talking to a massive manufacturing company 2 days ago who said, hey, we were hardware first, and then we were always software as a secondary. We're fully shifting to being data and software first. Hardware comes with it, right? Because then you can update everything. And that transition is what everyone's going through, but it starts with the data, the platform, and then effectively building on top of that and bringing more value back to your customers. So,
well, it's been a pleasure having you again. Look forward to spending more time with you again.
Yeah,
so have a wonderful time.
Appreciate you both.
As we finish and we round up with Taylor, we are very excited to continue talking to you guys, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.